Hello and thank you for joining the Sunday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, reps back bills seeking to discourage NYSC members from depending on white-collar jobs after service year as National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Bill passes second reading. House of Representatives to investigate missing 178,459 firearms and ammunition. TVC accuses federal government of wasting $9.5 billion on dead refineries. And later on the show, Nigerian Air Force A-29 Tucano jets join other platforms in turning the heat on Boko Haram insurgents as Babajide Kolade Otitoju gets exclusive access to Nigeria Warplanes. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adekunle Yusuf. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Last week, attention shifted from insecurity that has ravaged Kaduna State for years to developmental issues. President Muhammadu Buhari paid a two-day visit to the Northwest State and inaugurated 19 projects executed by Governor Nasiru El-Rufai. Some of the projects inaugurated by the president include the reconstruction of Kawu Flyover and 5.6-kilometer Aliyu Makama Road, the multi-story mega school in Rigasa, the dualization of Yakubu Gowon Way and Leventis Underpass, ultra-modern complex at the Murtala Square, 3,400 ultra-modern shops at Sabongiri Market in Zaria, 3 roads in Kafancha, among others. Let's share some of them with you.
Several residents and government officials were present to welcome the president and witness the commissioning. At least 19 completed projects were set to be commissioned in Kafancha and Kaduna. Among them are the reconstructed Kawu Flyover, a school in Rigasa, several dualized roads, Leventis Underpass, an infectious disease center, and others. Statistics available to the Kaduna government says the state now has an estimated population of over 10 million citizens. The Urban Renewal Project therefore aims at meeting the growing infrastructural needs of this increasing population and also achieving sustainable development.
Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari commends the governor for his commitment to making the state better.
We were committing ourselves to changing Kaduna and we have been very successful.
Residents of the state who came out in large number to cheer were full of appreciation to the governor for the projects.
And now we are having a lot of transformation in Kaduna. So we hope that other state governors will also come up with this type of a developmental project across the Nigeria.
100% proud of him. Go to every corner, every site, every ward, every local government and see the development. Yeah. We need continuity. Actually, that is the fact. He has tried and we thank him. Our boat is not wasted.
The president's visit to Kaduna State continues on Friday. He will commission road projects in Zaria before being hosted to a state banquet in Kaduna, the capital. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
All right, if you do a kind of content analysis of newspapers and other reports from Kaduna State in the last 8 months, you'd have seen that it has always been a story of insecurity. That's like blighted the achievement of Governor Nasiru El-Rufai. But with this list that I'm seeing and what the president went there to, you will know that development was going on, but there's no amount of development, as we used to say on this program, that you can achieve if there's no peace and security. It will just undermine everything you've done.
You know, the people are happy with the governor because the governor has done so much. We have to give that to him. Governor Rufai is one of the best in our country in many ways. Not just even in the delivery of projects that clearly meet the needs of the people. But even in taking the big decisions, you can always count on him to take the big decision as long as he's convinced that that is the best for the people at that point in time. Now, we've also said that, look, deal with security issues. I want a Kaduna that is safe. I know he's making efforts on his part, and it's not totally in the hands of any governor. Anybody who thinks that a governor can solve security problem is wasting his time. When a governor feels real security problems, he will know that he has not got the capacity to deal with the problem. So El-Rufai has tried his best, but security needs to be addressed. And people showed their anger. People showed their anger even during the president's visit. I know that some people will say, no, it was after the president left, but it's a lie. There are videos of the convoy passing, and people were saying, we are not happy, we are not happy. The people will show their anger when there is so much insecurity. And it happened even in Borno State. When the president visited Borno State, people came out to show their anger. So I've told people in government that, look, you can build houses for people in the sky. If insecurity is not addressed, the people won't be happy, and the people will keep pointing at that insecurity. That's why, as a government, they must come together and find a way to solve this problem. If Kaduna can be safer, I'm telling you that this governor can do 2 times what he has already achieved.
You see, I think he has said it. The primary purpose of any government, security of life and property. If that's not achieved, every other thing. I commend the governor because I see the quality of the infrastructure. Yes. That's the kind of thing I like. When you want to deliver a project, do it, make it a quality, thing. But
of course, the quantities of yours.
So instead of quantity, I believe in quality. In these days, some of our leaders will do projects before they leave. The road is already carving and all that. I don't like that. So when you do something that can outlast, your administration and all that, I like. But we need to talk more about security because people of Kaduna State are not happy. And why? Because of insecurity in their
all right. State. Outrage, outbursts, and calls for swift dispensation of justice continue to trail the kidnap and killing of 5-year-old pupil in Kano, Hanifa Abubakar, by our school teacher, Abdulmalik Mohammed Tanko. This was further accentuated when Hanifa's mother, Fatima Maina, burst into tears and attacked the killer on citing him at the headquarters of the Kano State Police Command, demanding why he took her daughter's life. Let's share the viral video of where she was lamenting with you.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Kunda meni da tambaya. A lokacin kowa ya tsorata. Saboda 7 na dare ya ci. Sai SS suka ce, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Kun dame ni da tambaya. Haka dan uwana ya je ya kai wannan kudin. Lokacin da zai tafi sai ya gaya min wata kalma da ta girgiza ni. Sai ya ce min sai ya sake min text. Cewa ya bar kudin miliyan 5 amma in cire 100,000 na ta baya.
All right, but I don't know. This is I don't know how to describe this, but it has called a lot of people who have been calling for justice for this 5-year-old girl that was killed unnecessarily by a teacher.
This is to see the agony of a mother and watch the agony of a mother is something very painful. You cannot, no one can excuse the killing of a little girl by someone who ought to be her minder. you put your children in school because you trust the teachers. Yes. These children spend more time with their teachers than they spend with us. And you can imagine what this person has done. And the painful thing was, on the day the little girl got missing, he went to their house, shedding crocodile tears, just as a way of deflecting attention from himself. And he knew that he was the one who took her away. And even after he had killed her, because he didn't waste time to kill her because the girl recognized him. Even after he had killed her, because the girl went missing since December, he still continued to harass them for money, knowing that he had already killed her. Only a beast could be this wicked. How do you do that? That's the only child of her parents. You can see it has really pricked the conscience of our nation, because even the president came out to condemn what has happened. It underlines the need for us to deal decisively with kidnapping. Kidnapping has become such a big problem. It's the #1 crime in our country now. By statistics, there is no crime that is committed as much as kidnapping. And there is also no crime that fetches money to people who indulge in it, like kidnapping. So we have to see kidnapping as a national problem, as a national disgrace that we have to address.
There should be like a limit. If kidnapping is even the trend and everything, but when you have people that they are like mad people on the prowl, because when you see a girl like this, what do you want to do with a girl? If you to kidnap a girl like that,
we see that in the last few years, Nigerians seem to have changed as far as I'm concerned. We don't feel, tortured psychologically when we hear that so number of people died. No, they won't see national outrage. People won't get it. I say, why? Our lives have been so devalued to a point that why will a person in sane mind kill his baby? Pregnant mothers, children, female, we always regard them as vulnerable. You have to
special baby like this, you have to
special care, special compassion and all
care of her.
But now Nigerians, especially the criminals among us, they don't care anymore. How will you kill a baby, a 5-year-old girl? I think another one was killed in Lagos recently. They say it's bullying or whatever they call it. Another one was killed about a day or two ago. Another was in the news. School children. I don't even know what our country is turning to. To me, I don't know what is really happening. I don't know what's happening.
All right. For over the years, the debates over the need for the Nigerian youths to jettison the idea of white-collar jobs to solve rising unemployment rates in the country has raged. Now, the House of Representatives is considering a bill to discourage members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, from depending on white-collar jobs. To this end, the bill for an act to establish the National Youth Service Corps Trusts Fund has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, which seeks to provide a sustainable source of funds for the NYSC and corps members, was sponsored by Mayowa Akifolari from Ondo State. Julie, yes, it has been patterned. Our university system has been patterned through, the normal theoretical go to school and our course outline. How would I call it? Syllabus was for a long years not developed towards entrepreneurship. But I remember as at 1999 when I went to camp, NYSC now tried, teaching us how to be self-reliant, dependent, business skills and everything. I started as at that time. Now, if they are trying to legalize it and make it, official, I think it's a good step. It's not everybody that will get this white-collar job.
No, and our destinies are different. Your destiny may be to become an entrepreneur and make it. My own destiny may be to be a journalist.
Okay.
And be famous through it, and even make money through it. Some people, no matter what they try, their destiny, no matter what they do, their destiny is to become successful farmers. Some people are creative, even scored first class in school, but they are, by their destiny and their talent, they are meant to be fashion designers. And if they do not pursue that line, whatever they do, they will not make it. They will just be struggling. They will be wondering, oh, is it home trouble and all that. People must identify what really is best for them. NYSC, under the current DG, has pursued this line from different reasons. There is a particular core member that left the service and decided to become an entrepreneur. That core member is now an employer of laborers, employed dozens and dozens of workers, and is thriving. The core member benefited from this training that they give them during the service here, you know. And look at the way he has blown, as our musicians say, their slangs, you know. So if that one can succeed that way and go to that length, young people, how old was the guy who started the Roku TV? He was in his 20s. Young people can excel. They don't have to wait until I get this job at CBN,
to write tests,
where they will pay me good salary. Until I go to debt management office, until I work in NNPC, where I will get extortionate salary. You know, until my father goes to kneel down for someone who now help me to get into the police. It may not be your line. There are many people today who are in the police. They are not supposed to be there. They are not fit to even be policemen, because they are people themselves who deserve to be policed. They are now policemen. That's not their line. So some people will probably do better even as cobblers. To be a cobbler is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
After all, we have Brazil. One of Brazil's recent president was a cobbler.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
So this is the thing. I like this idea, and I pray that the bill would ultimately be passed, and the president will give his assent, because this is a very good one.
It's a good one because I like it. I happen to have monitored this same exercise in Unilag. There is entrepreneurship center in Unilag.
No.
It's been there for many years now, and you see the sheer number of people who are doing extremely well. And the university goes as far as even getting funds for them. Many of them have been patented in their innovations and so many things. So at the point I started feeling that even if we want to change our country, maybe we should try and modify our curriculum or whatever.
We cannot all get
because the government cannot solve problem of unemployment by employing or giving handouts. So why not, inculcate this thing in our education system, that is entrepreneurship, training. Many of these graduates are creative enough to be everything they want to be. Yes, if they have the right training. So if the universities, the polytechnics, the federal government, the state government, all of them, including the private schools, they inculcate these things in them. By the time they get to NYSC will add to it. Believe me, the vast majority of them may not even like to be
most of them, they want looking for
interview because they want to join civil service and be collecting peanuts. They will say no, the money that I will collect at the end of the month, I can make it in a day.
The market is here.
I know one NYSC person who left NYSC. The savings he made, he went to, I think Kekitiba, I remember, bought land and started farming and became big from the savings from NYSC.
All right. Okay, joining us from Abuja for more discussion on this is the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Major General Shoaibu Ibrahim. Thank you for joining us, General. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And congrats on your promotion to the rank of Major General.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Congrats on your promotion, sir.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. You want to shed more light into this scheme and this bill that is in the House of Representatives. You know, the act of it has gone through second reading. What it will do for our youths and how important this bill is.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to thank the federal government and also the members of the National Assembly for their abiding faith and the NYSC necessitating the passing of this bill up to the second reading. The NYSC was established for promotion of national unity and integration. But we on our part, we realize that the challenge of unemployment, which is a global phenomenon, is not it's not limited to Nigeria alone. And that's why the NYSC put on our taking caps in 2012. We established what we call the Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurial Development Program for our core members, where various skills in camp and post-camp training were introduced for our core members. And for our findings and our own monitoring, we have observed that thousands of core members who took advantage of the skill acquisition training have established their businesses. Apart from being self-reliant, they've taken off thousands of Nigerians from the unemployment market. So that's the reason why we said, look, if this fund is established, in addition to funding of the NYSC, we will get adequate funding for the training of these core members on entrepreneurship, and then startup capitals to be given to them as they exit the service. So as you know, we mobilize as much as 350,000 core members every year. If over 350,000 core members are given this startup capital to start their business on the skills they've acquired in the NYSC, you can imagine the thousands of Nigerians that are going to take off from the unemployment market. And once the core members who are digital, the graduates who are digital, and they are engaged, of course, it's going to address the challenge of insecurity in our country. A man that is engaged will not go and carry AK-47. And that's informed why the NYSC has taken up this gauntlet and also pleading with the National Assembly to see this is the logical conclusion for the assent to the president to be given. And I can assure you, millions of Nigerians will be taken off from the unemployment market because the core members that are determined, that they have the passion, they have the commitment to achieve their desired goals. And I want to use this opportunity to thank the Journalist Hangout for the abiding faith also you have had on the NYSC for supporting our programs.
Now, can you give us a few examples of some core members that you continue to get feedback from them who had decided to leverage on the skills that they had acquired in camp to set up business of their own and provide employment? Can you give us a few instances?
The instances are just too many for me to mention to you. Over 1 million of core members have gone through this program. And we set up a monitoring committee at the headquarters level. And we have interfaced. He's still talking.
Go on, sir, go on, don't stop.
Okay. Over 2 million core members have gone through the skill acquisition training. And if you watch our programs on NTA, NYSC Half Hour, every Wednesday by 7:30, you will have seen thousands of our core members, ex-core members, that have established their own businesses from the skill we've taught them in camp. We have one Shay who established a food juice manufacturing company in Lagos. He has over 1,500 outlets all over the country. He supplied the juice to the Federal Capital Territory. We buy them. There are so many. This Stephen Teru, and so on. You look, if some of the video clip, we will organize a documentary so that I will send it to the Journalist Hangout so they can please help us show to Nigerians to see what these core members have done. There are too many to mention. Recently, we have our SEED Festival, Skill Acquisition Entrepreneurial Program Festival, where the First Lady, represented by the wife of the Vice President, attended the function. And what they saw, the display they saw of items produced by core members, they couldn't believe it. And in fact, Her Excellency, the Vice President, rendered a song to the core members that she sees them as princess and princes, so that and encourage them to sustain the effort. All that we are appealing to the federal government and the members of the National Assembly to sustain this effort to ensure that this trust fund is given. And also to support what agree with what Kunle Yusuf also said. The example you saw at the University of Lagos. Well, we on our part have also agitated that entrepreneurship training should be made compulsory in our tertiary institutions, so that once members come, when they come to serve, so 2 certificates will be given to them at the end of the day from the university, certificate on their skills acquired and their certificate in the academic aspect. So when they come to the NYSC, we are going to deploy them accordingly, both in academic and skill. And their host communities, they will be able to impart this knowledge to them. I want to also, on a happy note, to let you know that most of these core members have established their businesses and have also employed thousands of Nigerians. They did not establish these businesses in their state of origin. They established this business in their state of service. In addition, promoting national unity and national integration. They see themselves as Nigerians and they provide their service freely to the host communities. There is one ex-commander, Shuaib Ibrahim, who established an aluminum company in Niger State. He has trained 5,000 indigenes of Niger State, and they made their services also available to core members in the camp, so that during the camp training, they also come to give back to the NYSC what they benefited from the scheme. And that's with the wonders of this program. I can assure you what this thing says true. The challenge of funding, maintenance of our camp, building or expanding the camps, providing new ones and so on will be addressed. And that is what we look at it. And I can assure you also, it's going to also assist the NYSC to continue to tap the potentials of the core members. I'm sure you must have heard recently, we're already tapping the potential of the core members on our various ventures. You know, we have gone to film production, we have established several things so that the revenue we generate from these ventures and so on, we will declare to the federal government. As you are aware, we have generated over 1.2 billion naira, which we have paid to the federation account. And once this thing is done, we are just going to continue to tap on the potential of the government so that we bring revenue as their own contribution to our national economy and national development.
Okay, sir. What's your message for some Nigerians who are insisting that the NYSC has outlived its relevance, that it should be scrapped? What's your message for them?
My message for them, thank God, we have unveiled 9 books on the NYSC last year. So I want to challenge them to go and read those 9 books. And the 9 books covered all our areas of operation. And the core members are doing very well. Recently, during the strike by medical workers, federal government tasked core members to do the job. Core members were running the hospitals, both in rural and the urban centers. We have all the educational system. If you say there will be no more core members to teach in schools and provide health services, I can imagine the challenges we are going to have in the health and the private sector. Core members are involved in election. They are involved in census. Core members, as I'm talking to you, are involved in alternate education in Nigeria. And they also provide so many services to Nigeria. Go to the rural communities and sample the opinions of Nigerians on the NYSC and see whether what you say is going to be negative. Me, as I'm talking to you, I was an ex-core member. And being a fan of the journalist hangout, I have once listened to Babajide and some of you who recount your experiences as core members. And you have all added value as core members. Myself as a core member made me what I am today. Because I schooled in Benin City, it's a core members who taught us history in the school that made me to adopt, to choose history as my course. And I'm an associate professor of history. I've been looking for that particular ex-core to have contact to see if I can see him and thank him for ever making me for what I am today. So core members are doing a lot and are contributing greatly to our national economy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, fellow historian. You and the Chief of Army Staff, your boss, you are historians, and it makes me happy that we historians are doing well in our country. But I want to ask you to throw more light on this revenue generation. How come the National Youth Service Corps is able to generate so much money? What were you buying and selling?
You know,
how did you generate this money?
Yes. He's still talking.
Continue.
Yeah, answer. Just keep talking.
The NYSC will have what we call ventures. We have a table factory, water factory. We have bakery. You know, we have farms. We have farms. We are also going to film production. And also, in addition to our integrated system, so all these things we directed that NYSC, I don't want NYSC to be seen as a consuming agency alone. We should bring something on the table as our own contribution to our national economy. And that is why all the revenue generated from these ventures will pay them to the TSA, so that the government should know that the NYSC also can do something and bring something on the table. Because I don't want us to be seen as just a burden to the federal government. And that is why all this thinking and ideas the NYSC is generating is it also gave birth to the aspect of the NYSC Trust Fund. I can assure you, if this trust fund is given, NYSC is going to bring so much on the table to Nigerians. And the idea of unemployment will be a thing of the past to some extent in Nigeria, because these core members are determined, they have passion, they are digital in nature, as I said, and just all they want is just the opportunity. Once this grant is this trust fund is established, the NYSC, the core members are going to bring so much on the table for Nigerians.
I want to thank you, Major General Shoaib Ibrahim, and congratulations on your promotion as a Major General. Congratulations, General.
Thank you very much. And we want to, on behalf of the NYSC management staff and core members nationwide, I want to thank the Journalist Hangout, because the NYSC is a fan of your program. We do follow it day in, day out. So I want to thank you and congratulate you for the good job you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, General.
Is the first DG of NYSC to get to that rank. Yes.
Major General. Okay, it has always been Brigadier General.
Yeah, always top on
Brigadier General. Yes. Wow.
So he must be doing something special.
Something right, something nice.
And he said he has not missed promotion since his first promotion. He has never missed any promotion.
Shows talent.
And that he has never lobbied anything.
He's a good man. And it shows.
NYSC DG Major General Shoaib Ibrahim, we wish him the best of luck. Moving on now. The Yoruba people say the pest that ravages the crop stays within the crop. For years, we blamed proliferation of arms in Nigeria on porous border without recourse to our leaking armory. The House of Representatives has mandated the Haddock Committee on Arms to investigate allegedly missing 178,459 arms from our armory, as reported by the Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Agugu. According to the 2019 audit reports, the arms, which include AK-47 rifles and other assorted guns and pistols from different formations nationwide, could not be accounted for by the Nigerian police. So where are the guns? Today there's fire on the mountain. We thought it was the ones they were bringing from Libya, Mali, and everything that has been causing insecurity alone, not knowing that, look, what we have in the Nigeria, is there not a system on ground that they can take inventory of this thing? I was thinking that for the military,
systems are abused. You know, when I interviewed the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, he said it is not the weapons that matter the most, but the man. That the greatest thing of value is the man. That's the person to use the weapon. And I could understand what he was saying. They can supply weapons to the police. They can flood our military formations with the high caliber weapons that we need. But if policemen choose to sell weapons to bandits, if policemen choose to connive or even rent out weapons to armed robbers, what do we do about that? And this thing, it's happened before. It's happened before. When we had the Anene saga, you know, Monde Osumbo and the rest of them, that was a senior police officer.
Involvement, yes.
That was executed, yes, that was executed with them. Because he was the one supplying them weapons, and he will even give them information about troops movement. Somebody was supposed to go and kill them. You know? Yes, I think it was a DSP or so. That I'm not a deputy commissioner of police. DSP.
No, DSP, yes.
So how do we, somebody, you see, reports emanating from the Auditor General of the Federation must never be taken lightly.
This is as at 2019.
This is the job that we gave him,
2019.
and he has done the job diligently. He has opened our eyes to a big problem. Look at this number of weapons. If you were to supply each policeman in our country his own weapon, this is more than what half of those policemen will get. Because it's not every policeman. Some sit in the office, some are, some are admin staff. So if we are to give those who are supposed to carry weapons, I'm telling you, what is missing will be more than half of what we are supposed to give out. It's a terrible thing. I've been thinking about this thing for a few days, and it's giving me sleepless nights. Where did these weapons end up?
On Wednesday, we listed it. I would cover that.
Yes. Now, after that, the National Assembly decided that they were going to investigate. All I can say is, let this be an investigation with a difference. Because we've seen the National Assembly investigate so many things. And nothing usually comes out of them.
Yes.
You know, they will give a verdict, nobody will do anything. Sometimes they will invite even these civil servants, they will be reluctant to go. Let this one be an investigation with a difference. Elsewhere, by now, heads will have been rolling. But are we simply going to sweep this under the carpet? It's too monumental to be overlooked. That's a huge huge number of weapons.
When you see this and you see even trying to curb crime, and you discover that, look, even the people that are meant to be curbing crime, they are not immune from crime themselves.
I think this will just confirm what many Nigerians know. You see, there's hardly any major crime that bad eggs in the security unit will not be involved, either facilitating through information or providing access to arms and all sorts of things. Believe me, this number of missing arms in any society is enough to cause, total breakdown of everything. So when we say Nigerians are not safe, we have insecurity, that we know the source of our problem. That in just one of our security organization, this is 178,000 AK rifles, pistols, all sorts of things, and heads are not rolling. It is not just in one police station or one state. It's all over, and there is no state. There is no state that has done well. You understand me? And in that case, you have commissioner of police, you have all sorts of people, who administer, and nobody is worried. It must have been that maybe it's a general trend, or it's something that from the top to the lowest officer, they all agree that this is what we'll be doing. If it's not business, I don't know how this can happen. With this magnitude, if it's not a well-organized, business within, I don't know how this can take place. 178,000. Oh my God. And this is as at December 2018. 2018. The report stopped in 2018. So we don't know what took place in 2019, 2020, 2020.
So by the time the report for those,
maybe
they will even be higher than this.
Now we are approaching election. The tendency is that this thing will.
Somebody even asked me a question. He said, we recover weapons. How do they ever end up? Sometimes, these weapons that we recover from armed robbers, what usually happens to them? He said he wants to know what usually happens to them. Who is following up? Can some people simply pick some of those weapons that were recovered from where they hid them and then sell them in the black market, so that they get recycled again and mainstreamed into the criminal world? Because these are questions that people should. We need to have a system in place that, okay, those guys, they sneaked into our country through the porous border, but we were able to arrest them and confiscate the weapons in their hands. Where do they end up? How are we sure that criminal elements within the security agencies won't now go and sell even some of these weapons to the criminals? Even bullets, they sell bullets to criminals. They sell bullets.
Do you know, I think the situation has changed now in NDLA with General Buba Marwa. Do you know those scissors they were making in NDLA when I was really, investigating DLA? In many states, they will gather big bags of this and that. They said they will gather all sort of, big men to say they want to burn it. Do you know the bad eggs in the system know how to go and get sawdust from our furniture, get sawdust, and that is these drugs get recycled. Yes. They get recycled.
And then the so-called exhibit drugs then go back to...
That's what I mean by recycled. And yet you have made it, the TV camera to show the world this is what you are doing. At the end of the day, you realize that scissors, the statistics continue to rise when it should be coming down.
Wow. I think the House of Representatives, they should look at it thoroughly, and the Inspector General of Police and past Inspector General of Police.
They need to invite
anybody in charge of the armory
during that period. They need to heads of operation within the police during that period, the period in question. Look, elsewhere, to get to the root of this, the probe could last months. They make sure that nobody is left behind. Everyone directly or indirectly connected will be brought, because even if you didn't steal, even if the people under you, that your own capacity to supervise was so defective, was so suspect to the point that people under you can sell weapons, even you need to answer for it. So I'm saying that elsewhere, they will make sure that everyone connected, they will bring them and questions will be asked. How did this happen? Who were the people concerned? And because the auditor was talking about the need to prosecute and all that, it shouldn't even stop at that. It shouldn't stop with the people who are suspected to have sold these things, or the people that these weapons got missing in their hands. The people who are supervising them and permitted a system whereby this quantum of weapons could be stolen. Those people need to answer questions. We see how it's done in other lands. Even ex-presidents are jailed.
Honestly, this is a matter that should interest the president. Beyond, province, of course, that can go on. The president needs to take, this matter very seriously.
Yes.
Because you've been doing whatever you are doing, insecurity has been your number one, Now, this is an opportunity to solve that problem, because without criminals having easy access to firearms, believe me, many of the crimes will not be able to.
Yes.
So now you shouldn't just say my house is probing. How many of the probes on
after
the house,
a while we won't hear anything?
How many of them have Nigerians benefited anything from? They just make noise. The media will do whatever. At the end of the day, that's the end of it. The presidency the executive should be interested in this.
Ultimately, I feel that some Nigerians, they enter into this force to perpetrate crime.
Yes. No doubt about it. There are people who, Obasanjo said it. Obasanjo said it when he was president. He said there are many armed robbers in the police. It's true. So just as we have armed robbers in the army,
Of course.
Have people not been arrested for, have soldiers not been arrested for conniving with bandits? It happened in Zamfara. Soldier was selling uniform to bandits, and he was arrested himself and his wife. Although we don't know where that matter ended up. We've seen, as it happened in Taraba, an officer conniving with a notorious kidnapper. So there are bad eggs, and then killed innocent policemen who were on duty, who are serving their fatherland.
What has happened to this?
That is our country. That's why even this one, that's why we are worried that even this one, nothing may come out. You know, it's dangerous for us to have a situation, to have this kind of situation whereby probes that are so desirable, even before they begin, we already write them off. But we are towing that line as a nation. We talk about America, we borrow the most useless examples from America, but examples about good governance, about the way they deal with criminals. We are reluctant to do that. Elsewhere, even if you are indicted, indictment alone, indictment is almost worse than being jailed, though.
Yes.
In our country, people get indicted. They know that Nigerians will make noise after a few days. That's the end. So they will say, don't worry. After a while, they will not talk about it again. That is the thing. So this one too, who knows? After a few weeks, nobody will talk about it again. But I can tell you, in many countries of the world, this is a very big scandal. A very big scandal for which people should be put on trial and jailed, no matter how high they are.
The House of Representatives now, if somebody refuses to come from the police, they want to issue a bench warrant. And who is going to enforce the bench warrant? You see, our system is just, if they ask somebody to come and that person is not cooperating with them, they want to tell the police IG to arrest that person. So how do you prove the police now?
I'm sorry to say this. I don't see this National Assembly going to that extent. I'm sorry. From what I've seen so far in the last 2-3 years, I don't think this is not the National Assembly that will go as far as issuing bench warrant and all that. And remember, the institution they want to that we execute is also the police. So how do you agree about it? So that's why I said I'm not expecting anything substantial from the probe, even though this is something that should have rated, one of the most important.
The biggest scandal.
Honestly,
I'm telling you.
Honestly.
I'm telling you. All right. We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away. So, organized labor is not just angered by planned removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. They are poised for war with the federal government on the matter. They are also angry over the inability of successive governments to fix refineries while striving to remove fuel subsidy. The Trade Union Congress, TUC, accused the federal government of wasting $9.5 billion on moribund refineries in 10 years through turnaround maintenance. The national president of TUC, Quadri Olaleye, who made the accusation, said corruption and inefficiency in the oil and gas sector are responsible for the mess staring the country in the face. Julie, we've always been saying this, that these refineries, they have workers. Those workers, they go on training, some of them foreign training, and they earn very, very good, fat salaries. And we keep doing this turnaround maintenance, and these projects are referred to as moribund. 4 months ago or so, I think another $1 billion was actually, dedicated, saying that in 44 months or so, that they're going to be working optimally.
You see, I may not always agree with labor leaders, because labor leaders will sometimes let you down when you expect them to fight certain causes to the logical conclusion. But I believe that the TUC was right in questioning our expenditure on refineries that are literally dead. Because if you are not refining a drop of crude oil for the entire year, why are people still there earning salaries and all that?
For years.
It's been like that. So, and they are saying, look, the kind of money that we have dedicated to this turnaround maintenance makes no sense. We have failed. The leadership has failed our nation. Government after government refused to run the refineries the right way. It is not the age of the refineries that is the problem. It's the fact that for years we did not maintain the refineries the right way. The turnaround maintenance for the refineries was sometimes given to people who are not qualified to do the turnaround maintenance. For example, Chiyoda built the refinery in Kaduna. What is wrong in bringing Chiyoda that built the refinery to come and do turnaround? Sometimes you bring DBN from France, another people, and then there will be a problem. There was a particular year that as they were doing turnaround maintenance, the fuel catalytic unit caught fire. And the refinery was shut for a long time. You are doing turnaround and the refinery was catching fire. If you look at some of the refineries in the world, Bradford is the oldest running refinery in the US. In fact, it's the oldest in the whole, it's in Philadelphia, and is the oldest in North America. Bradford was built in 1881. Not only that, there is even in there is Ras Tanura in Saudi Arabia, built in 1940, is still operating as one of the Aramco refineries. So it is how you maintain these refineries that matters the most. There is Pioneer Oil Refinery that was built on March 6, 1935 in the US, in California. In the US. It's still there, it's still running. We have, how many refineries do we have that we can't maintain them? America alone, as we speak, at least as at 2019, America had 135 operating refineries, and 27 of them are in Texas, just one state having 27 refineries. As a country, we can't have more than 4 or 5 refineries. That is even including the modular refineries. Promises will be made by successive government, we won't see anything happening. So we as a country, we will let ourselves down. At the peak of the oil boom in the 80s, America had 250 refineries.
So I want to ask you, Adekunle Yusuf, with the monies we've had through oil and everything, is it that there's never been that administration that would think about projects for tomorrow? That's, look, let's build our own refinery. Now it's almost impossible for government to build a refinery because the money is not there. They have to borrow.
That is not true.
Oh,
there is no political way on
that's
the
what
part
I'm saying, that
of those
presently now,
in Nigeria.
Presently
when
now,
they want to build rail, when they want to do this, do that, they know where to borrow money. You understand me?
The money is there.
In Nigeria, we love to punish the ordinary folks, the masses, for the failures of those who run our country. Let's be very honest. Ask yourself, why is everybody who happens to become president loves to be the minister of petroleum resources? And at the end of the day, they want to let you know that they want to oversee and make sure that things are right. At the end of the day, things will never be right. They will leave. Yes, under this same government, the time this administration has spent in power is enough to build as many refineries as you want.
Yes.
Have they built anyone? The ones they met on the ground, go and look at what has been spent. You get my point? Nigeria has spent more money that money that should have built new refineries.
Yes,
we have spent more than that
on turnaround maintenance
to maintain dead woods. We call refineries. What happened recently? How much did the federal government approve for the maintenance and whatever we call of Port Harcourt Refinery. So when we look at the way we do things, it's not because when there was oil boom, whether we have oil boom or we don't have oil boom. The sincerity on the part of political leaders, you know, here is a government that is saying you want to remove subsidy. The first job you should have done is don't bring in, you know, refined oil again. Refined oil, crude oil in Nigeria. Yes. Then after that, there won't be any discussion for. But has anybody spoken in that direction? No, they want to inflict more pain. They want to inflict more pain on Nigerians. You understand me? That is, you punish Nigerians for your own failures.
Okay, there's this debate over the number of liters of petrol consumed in the country. Senate President Ahmed Lawal lent his voice to this. Let's hear from the Senate President Ahmed Lawal.
No, I will not speculate. What I'm telling you is a burden, quite all right, and we have to work as an administration. We need to work hard to find a solution to it. We shouldn't push this burden to the ordinary man. 100 million liters of petrol consumed every day in Nigeria. I can tell you it's not correct. I don't believe in that. If it is not so, what do we need to do? We have to sit down and deal with this so that we find a solution as a government. It can't be 100 million liters and then we said this subsidy thing. Yeah, it's a burden. We can use the money freely for other things, especially social development, schools, hospitals. But if we don't do something, how are we sure that it will not even become 200 million liters by the time this thing is, we just remove it, and it's going to take a whole lot of stress on the lives of the people. So I just want to commend Mr. President that he didn't order anybody to say that petroleum subsidy will be removed, even though we know it's a burden. So now our task is, as an administration, we must find a solution.
Senate President Ahmed Lawal there, and still talking about that controversy that it has been a source of debate from forever.
I've always said it here that I disagree that we are consuming 102 million liters a day.
What do we do with it?
No. It's just difficult. It's impossible to prove that we consume that much in one day.
It's because some people want to jack up.
But they've been consistently jacking and nobody is asking questions.
The subsidy thing, so that
yes, the higher claim you make by way of consumption level, the higher the subsidy payment. So we've been saying it here. I've said repeated that I do not agree. Now we can see the Senate President also saying no, that is not true. Maybe some people will wake up now and start calling him whaler. We don't know. But that's the number 3 man in our country saying that he does not agree that we consume that much.
It's not so.
If he joins the whaler, that means
everybody is a
number 3 man is now
because the biggest fraud in our country is in that sector.
Yes, of course, everyone knows.
Nobody can dispute that.
All right, and economics Nemeka Obiareri joins us via Zoom to shed more light on this issue. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year, Obiareri.
The same to you, brother.
You are looking good value for the year.
I wanted to say he's looking fresh.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, you want to shed more light into this, and 2022 might quite be turbulent for the Nigerian government and the Nigerian Labour Union on the minimum wage, talking about this fuel subsidy, removal of fuel subsidy or not. So what we are looking at here, it's a big situation that we might have to look for way out. Amika, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Let's have your view, even on the TUC allegation. I mean, that the government has merely wasted money on those refineries.
$9.5 billion on moribund refineries in 10 years.
Let's have your view.
First of all, you could see I was smiling when the number 3 man, the Senate president, was busy, this is the 60th year in power, lamenting as if they don't know what is really happening. Then for the TUC, it's also very laughable too. I took out time to go through the list of TUC affiliate associations. And the last time I checked, one of the affiliate unions that are affiliated to TUC is the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association. And these are some of those who work in the refineries, some of those who work at the NNPC, and some of those who work in the Petroleum Ministry. Let us face fact and let us tell ourselves the truth. Anytime I see TUC grandstanding or trying to, lament, accusing the government of spending $9.5 billion without fixing. Who are the big government? Who are the people? Somebody asked the question, who is the presidency? The problem we have in Nigeria today, let me tell you, the political class and the civil servants, TUC, NLC, the political office holders are at the root cause of the woes we are having at the oil and gas industry, especially the downstream sector. And for them to grandstand and ask that question, you rightly pointed out here, over the last 6 years, we've wasted over 850 billion naira as unfailed turnaround maintenance program and loss on those refineries. Annually, we waste 67 billion naira paying the salaries and the emoluments of redundant, unproductive people, members of the TUC. It never bothered them. If Nigeria is their private companies, if those refineries are privately owned by those members of TUC working there, will they be collecting 67 billion naira annually as salaries without being bothered on what they will have done to fix those refineries? Who are those working at those refineries? Who are those engaged in supervising the contract that came for those turnaround maintenance programs? Where there are no project management. See, the truth remains, and the truth we must accept. The politics of petroleum in Nigeria has become cancerous because successive governments over time from 1999 till now have seen these refineries, have seen NNPC as always the conduit sleazy pipes through which they steal money to prepare for the next election after 4 years. That is why they never bothered to privatize those refineries when they came in 2015. South Africa has over 4 refineries. Those refineries were not built by South African government. Total, Chevron, Shell have stake in those refineries, producing refining over 504,000 barrels of crude oil every day. South Africa does not produce up to 5% of the kind of crude oil we produce in Nigeria. Do you know why it is possible? Because the government in South Africa were very transparent. They understood the purpose and the reason why they must privatize the downstream oil and gas sector and liberalize it in such a way that do not give way for players in the system to play Ponzi games. What we have been playing with our oil and gas industry over the last 20 years is Ponzi games, and it will get worse. I laugh when people say we consume up to 100 million liters of PMS. It's a lie. Even DPR on their own record says that we consume 38.5 million liters, and which is not also true. If you go through records of some of the oil major marketers that bring in PMS into it, they file a ton in their companies where they operate. They file a ton. If you check and look at their returns, if you look at the records at the U.S. State Energy Agency on the volume of petroleum products, the wide petroleum products that flow to different countries of the whole world, you will discover that on an average, we consume between 32 million to 42 million liters of PMS every day. At most, where are we taking the remaining 56, 58 million liters? They tell you it is smuggled. It's a lie. Because if you check the records of the 6 contiguous states that border Nigeria, from Cameroon to Niger to Chad, to Benin Republic to Burkina Faso, even to Togo, their total daily consumption is not up to 9.2 million liters a day. So let us even assume that these countries, even Niger, that refine 3 times what they consume, let us even assume that their own petroleum product disappeared and everybody is smuggling from Nigeria. They don't even import anything. That simply means if you add our total daily consumption, real, based on records of DPR, and the total daily consumption of these countries, it is not more than 46 million liters in a day. So what happened? And you know one funny thing is the NNPC that imports this product wholly. They are the sole importers. That simply means beyond the losses and the criminality happening at the refineries, beyond the criminality and Ponzi scheme happening at the downstream oil and gas sector by word of the PEF and whatever, there are also a Ponzi scheme going by word of the volume of monies we claim that we spend importing the white petroleum product. That is why we are having instability in the forex market, because we are selling crude oil at 83 naira, $82, $83. We expect the excess crude oil to account to increase, but it is depreciating because most of the gains that we got from the crude oil prices over the benchmark of $40 per barrel is being consumed by these lazy cats at the petroleum ministry and the NPC, who daily deceive us. And it is so shameful and ridiculous that the third man, the third citizen of Nigeria, is sounding so helpless. In 2011, Saraki, even as a member of National Assembly, was the one that kickstarted the canker worms, that unearthed the fraud that happened under the Zani era, that enabled us to even have an idea of what was happening there. When the marketers were playing games. Even based on the records under the Zani, we are consuming 47 million liters to 54 million liters. And the findings of National Assembly proved clearly that half of those products were not coming in. Kachukwu told us that we consumed as 2 million liters. Let us face fact. If we do not totally deregulate the downstream oil and gas sector and privatize those moribund refineries and allow the market to go on a free float, I tell you, we will come back in the next 4 years with the same story. The next government that will look at the systems.
Let me ask you this question, because we are in a kind of in a valley of decision now. You want the subsidy to go. Former military president Abdulsalami Abubakar has warned that the average Nigerian cannot pay 304 naira a liter. And you know it's even possible that it could go to 400 naira a liter, depending on the price in the international market. Where will this leave the ordinary folks?
Can I come in here? Now, let me explain this to you. You see, the greatest lie and the greatest fallacy that have continued to help these guys to perpetuate this Ponzi scheme in our economy is this lie that the poor masses are benefiting from the subsidy. Let me break it down for you. 52% of the petroleum consumption in Nigeria is done between Lagos State, Ogun State, and the Benin. 52% of all the PMS consumed in Nigeria, and most of them are not even PEF allowable. Now, if you come to Lagos State per se, based on the records in Lagos State Vehicle Registration Agency, we have over 5.1 million cars registered. Out of these 5.1 million cars registered, only 200,000 are for commercial purposes. The rest are private cars. Some people own 4, some own 3, some own 5. And now you talk about the properties. Over 100 million Nigerians live under extreme poverty. And you see one point we've not even once the removal of subsidy worsen their poverty level. Let me explain. The kerosene, which is consumed by the poor masses, has long been fully deregulated. Go and check. The NGO, which is the gas oil, you know, we talk about movement of goods and services. Most of the long haulage buses, most of the long haulage trucks that convey over 800 million tons of goods across Nigeria do not use PMS. They use diesel. And over time, diesel has been fully deregulated. That is why you see transport costs over time has inched up, because most of those truck drivers had to adjust their prices to be in line with the market realities. The other alternatives, if we decide to, we must deregulate. What we should be thinking about now is what are we going to do with the excess revenues that we are going to save? Let me tell you the revenue we are going to save. We are going to stop wasting. If we privatize those refineries, we will stop wasting 67 billion naira every year, paying unproductive leases. We will stop spending 120 billion naira every year as losses in the refinery is not working. We will stop most of the criminal money that we steal out of this country, claiming that we're importing 100 million liters every day, when we are actually importing between 35 to 42 million liters every day. We will also stop a lot of shenanigans that happen. Let me tell you, we will have excess of about $6 to $7 billion coming to our federation account. The question should be, what do we do with those excess revenues to provide palliative for the masses? And that is where we provide a solution. Most of these monies, the federal government must sit down with the governors. They are not going to shy to them. The sovereign wealth fund should have to put these monies under control. We have done proposals, honest proposals, on things that can be done in such a very scientific manner that the masses will not feel the pain of the regulation of the oil and gas industry. Even if PMS sells for 420 naira per liter, the templates are there. It has been done in other places. We cannot be the only country in the whole of West Africa that is still subsidizing corruption, profligacy, wickedness, and poverty in the land.
Thank you.
If you look at the budget performance in 2021, 97% of our revenues were used to pay for salaries and of civil servants and political office holders by way of the current expenditure.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your contribution. It could go on and on. It's so passionate about Nigeria and economics. Nemeka Obiari. Maybe at last we are going to just call a national summit on removal of this subsidy.
No, there are concerns that must be addressed.
Yeah.
Every time we increase fuel prices, we talk about palliative, but the ordinary man does not see the value of those palliatives.
The last one we did was
transport costs alone. I can understand why the Senate President is really worried and saying, look, we should not pass this burden to the ordinary man. Transport cost alone will drive people nuts.
If President Buhari's administration refused to take this step, it will leave it for the new administration.
Yes.
And we must do it. Because I understand that our lenders, the World Bank, everybody, they are saying we should do away with this.
So if we don't, as I say, the fact that we have to tell ourselves, it's not sustainable. We are taking money, we are unable to pay salaries, we are taking money from CBN. You've seen economists come out to say, look, using the CBN to address our deficit issues is not good. Even the World Bank has warned us that lending money from CBN, we have to stop. We can't go on like this. I was actually shocked when the finance minister herself came out to say, they had actually been
printing.
This has always been taking money from the CBN to pay salaries.
Let's say directly printing money.
No, CBN has tons of cash. Without necessarily printing. We are saying taking loan.
Yeah, that is
it's loan. Yeah, taking loan from the CBN.
Somebody will have to do it. We are postponing the evil day.
Well, when we have the leadership that truly has Nigerians at heart, there are ways to go about it. Okay, give yourself timeline. We want to remove this subsidy, and this is what we do. Give yourself timelines. You can build refineries, work on this. If you want to privatize everything, and make sure you don't import refined fuel again, then that's the end of subsidy. But any other thing, it shows that the leadership is not interested in the average masses.
No, it's a quick fix. That we are
that's not quick. That's
a quick fix.
That's callousness.
And finally, I've been looking forward to this. For years, Nigerians awaited the arrival of the much talked about A-29 Tucano jets to give the country superiority in the war against insurgency in the Northeast. In July 2021, the Warplanes arrived the country after a long wait. The Nigerian Air Force A-29 Super Tucano jets have now joined other platforms in turning the heat on Boko Haram insurgents. On Christmas Eve, that's Christmas Eve 2021, Babajide Kolade Otoju got exclusive access to the Nigerian warplanes and filed this report.
Since the Boko Haram insurgency began, the Nigerian Air Force has been in the thick of action, conducting bombing sorties and providing ground support for service troops. Lately, with the acquisition of more platforms, there has been increased tempo of air operations, with the Tucano jets, the ageless Alpha jets, the Mi-35 ground attack helicopters, and several others, conducting numerous raids against the enemy in different parts of Nigeria. On Christmas Eve, I visited the Air Component Command, Operation Hardin K, in Maiduguri, and met with the Air Component Commander, Air Vice Marshal Nnamdi Ananaba. The visit afforded me the rare privilege of having a close, personal, and intimate contact with Nigeria's elite warplanes. From AVM Ananaba's office, we went straight to the flight line. As expected, it was a very busy day, with various platforms taking off on missions and returning from missions. An opportunity for me to interact with young pilots fighting for their fatherland and acquire more knowledge about the warplanes. My first port of call was the A-29 Tucano jet shed. The Tucano jets were bought for more than $600 million by the Buhari administration. After about 4 years of waiting, the jets are finally here and contributing immensely to the war on terror. How does it feel when you get into the cockpit of this amazing bird and begin to do your work for your nation?
I feel very good and delighted flying the A-29 Tucano. The fact is a new machine and also has like the updated avionics system. And also the weapon delivery is perfect. So I feel very good and kind of job made easy.
What an amazing warplane.
Okay.
It's meant for just a pilot, right?
Yeah, both pilots, but since the combat mission, combat ready, the seat cover is placed for a single pilot to move, but if you have both pilots to go for it, you can pull off this and it joins behind.
You actually have two pilots.
Yes, you can have two pilots training.
Missions.
Yes.
Well, you can see that it's very compact. Looks really, the cockpit looks small. So the other pilot can sit here.
Can sit here, yes. And as well, can also operate the aircraft from the rear.
Wow. Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
As you can see, the other pilot can operate the aircraft from this sitting position. So the main pilot
stays here.
Sit here.
Yes.
Has it been involved in night missions, night sorties?
Yeah, we've been involved in night sorties. The aircraft has night capabilities, so we're able to carry out operations at night. Yes.
For you, when is the best time to fly?
For me, the best time to fly for me, it depends. Preferably, you fly in the day because you have your sights are working, you're seeing the daylight. But for combat, it's better if you fly at night.
That's for this kind of enemy.
Yeah, to achieve surprise and also better impact on enemy. Yeah, you can assess the area using the flare pod that is attached to the fitted to the aircraft.
Let's talk about the weapon system, the ammunitions that you deliver. What is the weight of the bomb that you drop?
You have 250 pounds.
250 pounds.
500 pounds.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Which can be carried on both wings. because the aircraft has 5 hard points.
Yes. Flight Lieutenant Hagu spoke about the qualities of the Tucanos. He appeals for patience from Nigerians as the war rages on.
Yeah, to Nigerians, they have to be patient with the Nigerian Air Force. Work is ongoing. The aircraft is doing its best since the induction into the Nigerian Air Force.
The Super Tucano that Nigerians asked for has come and is doing a good job in the Northeast, helping us to take out the veritable enemies of the Nigerian state. The Alpha Jet is one of Nigeria's most iconic and resilient warplanes. It is very rugged. The French-built warplane is used for both training and combat missions. Flight Lieutenant Y.S. Ahmed explains why the Alpha Jet is so irresistible.
The Nigerian Air Force will basically use it to train pilots. After basic training, you come on the Alpha Jet to get your limited combat rating, and thereafter start flying operationally for the Air Force. Here in Operation Hadinka, we conduct arm recce, air interdiction, closure support missions, and also arm escort mission, and we also conduct training here as well in theater. Currently, there's a pilot that is currently undergoing training and will soon be finishing in about 2 weeks' time, hopefully. The Alpha Jet is very reliable. In terms of the firepower it can carry, you can see it carries about 18 rockets on this side and 18 on the other side, so that's about 36 rockets. Also has the capability of carrying bombs on the both inner and outer pylons, and also the under pylons who can carry guns as well. So in terms of the ammo that the aircraft can carry, it can carry a lot, and also it's maneuverable, and it can achieve a lot in one mission.
How much love does the Boko Haram terrorists have for this?
I don't think they would love to see or hear the sound of this aircraft.
When you are in the air and you are moving towards a target area, what do you see the terrorists do? Give me an idea of what you see the terrorists do.
Mostly they don't see us coming, but for those that see us coming, they have no option than just to run away from where they are.
What's the weight of the bombs that this plane carries?
For a mission, you carry about 500, so 250 on the left, 250 on the right as well.
Suggest to us what we can use to replace it. As a young man who reads about warplanes and the rest, what will come to your mind?
First of all, the acquisition of the A29 Super Tucano is a good acquisition. Also, in terms of the role they play, it can substitute the Alpha Jet. Not entirely, but as well, they have the precision capability. But if I'm being selfish and I say I want an aircraft I want to fly, in terms of what I've seen, the reputation of the aircraft, the F-16 is a very good aircraft.
The Mi-171E is a cousin to the battle-tested Mi-35P, a multi-role helicopter.
The Mi-171 is a multi-role all-weather attack helicopter. As you can see, it is primarily designed for the movement of tacticals, manpower, and destruction of ground targets. The aircraft has the ability to carry 18 fully kitted soldiers and 36 troops. The Mi-171 has a unique capability of carrying various degrees of ammunition. As you can see, it's currently armed with 6 by 100 kg bombs, and it has the ability.
100 kg bombs.
Yes, these are 100 kg bombs. Yes, and it's armed with 6. We have 3 more on the other pylons, and it has the ability to carry 4 500 kg bombs, 2 on each pylons, making it 4, and it also carries 250 kg bombs.
Wow.
The Mi-171 can also be armed with rockets. It carries various degrees of rockets ranging from S8 rocket, C5 rocket, and C8 rocket. And it can also be armed with cannons, with the 23 mm Geisha gun port. It can be armed on the wings. The Mi-171E is armor plated to protect its crew in terms of combat mission. As you can see, it's fully armor plated to protect its crew from ground fire, and it also has it has the armor plate inside to protect the pilots and also on the ground in terms of direct ground fire. The Mi-171E also has and can fly for a range of 610 kilometers. And when fitted with external tanks, it can go as far as 1,200 kilometers, giving it an endurance of 5 hours. With an endurance of 5 hours, it aids patrol missions and reconnaissance missions in order to gather more intel. And the aircraft is operated by 3 crews, 2 pilots and 1 flight engineer.
Let's see what the cabin looks like.
In terms of medical evacuation mission, the aircraft is capable of carrying 12 stretchers with 5 medical personnel on board. So we can arm it with 5 stretchers to treat the wounded. And also this is the cockpit of the Mi-171. As you can see, it's very spacious. This is where the 2 pilots sit down, and this is the seat for the flight engineer. The Mi-171 has a very unique feature. Yes. This is where the captain sits down, the first pilot, and this is where the second pilot sit down. The Mi-171 is also automated. This is our autopilot system, meaning it can fly itself.
Wow.
It can fly itself. You can actually program it, and the aircraft will fly itself. Yes. And this is our armament system, which we use. On top, this is the bomb armament system. Yes, which we use. And this is the rocket armament system.
Flight Lieutenant Wukanga is a pilot on another multi-role helicopter, the Mi-35M. Tell us about your baby, your aircraft.
Okay.
And why you enjoy flying it.
Yeah, it's always a delight when I get to fly this aircraft because the helicopter is a very rugged and tested Russian machine, which was inducted into the Nigerian Air Force in 2016. This helicopter is primarily designed as a troop carrier. It can carry 8 fully kitted troops in the cargo compartment. It can also be configured to an ambulance configuration for medical evacuation and casualty evacuation, and also for combat in support of ground troops. Here in the theater, we use it for air interdiction, close air support, armed reconnaissance, as well as armed escort in support of the surface forces in the fight against terrorism. To achieve these roles, the helicopter is equipped with various munitions, some of which are the guided missiles. It can carry 8 of those missiles on the outer pylon to the right. It can also fire rockets. We can mount 20 rockets on this pylon. Yes, this is a rocket pod. The helicopter also has a gun, the Geisha 23mm gun in the front.
This is the gun?
Yeah, this is the gun. And this gun is incorporated with the camera, so you can fire the gun with the use of the camera. So this is where the pilot in command sits. Yes. You can also employ all the weapons from here or the front cockpit.
It was time for the A-29 Tucano to embark on a mission. The Alpha jet was also being readied for battle. One after another, the helicopters and bombers climbed into the air for bombing missions. A delighted AVM Ananaba threw more light on the various platforms.
What you have behind you here is the Mi-35M helicopter. It's an attack gunship. We call it a gunship because it carries rockets, it carries bombs. The rockets it carries, some of them are precision. while some are just the normal rockets. This plane is a very important airplane in the theater. We operate it both in the day and at night. So with it, any time of the day that the enemy comes, we can engage him with this airplane. You hear more about it when you talk to the
What is the difference between it and the M35P?
The difference is mainly with the weapon systems. Okay. While this has, I'll just give you one specific difference. While this has an optical camera, the 35P does not have. And this also carries precision-guided rockets, but the Mi-35P does not have precision-guided rockets. Again, there are other mechanical differences. For instance, the landing gears, the configuration of the landing gears, and so on, that make the difference. But the airframe generally is the same airframe. It's the same airframe.
But this is the MI.
This one here.
71E.
Yes.
So basically, it does the same job.
Yeah, it does.
Providing close air support.
This is more of a utility helicopter. Utility in the sense that it can carry cargo.
Okay.
So we use it for logistics. We supply both deep into enemy territory where the troops are, and also between units within the theater. Now, aside that, it is modified for attack as well. If you look at the airplane, you can see bombs mounted on the racks. So we also use it for bombing. Yes, these are bombs. You can also fit it with rocket pods, such that it can fire rockets from the airplane.
He is happy to have the ageless but very useful Alpha jet.
Yes, it's been with us since 1984 and it has been very effective and it's still working. If you leave me, I will not let go of this aeroplane. Let me hug it in your presence. Beautiful aeroplane.
That's the Alpha jet.
The Alpha Jets, doing a very good job.
Resilient and ageless war machine of the Nigerian Air Force. Tell me a few things about this ageless.
Yeah, it's a light attack platform. When we bought it, or when we got it into the Nigerian Air Force inventory, it was brought in as a leading fighter trainer to be used in the Air Weapons School KNG to train our combat pilots. But it had the dual role of being a combat airplane and a trainer airplane. So we started using it as a trainer airplane. But when the conflict in Liberia started, we started to use it as an attack platform. It has both roles, but now Liberia made us deploy it fully as an attack platform. And since then, it has been the workforce of Nigerian Air Force, the workhorse of Nigerian Air Force for all our combat operations. It remains very, very useful. Very, very useful.
So there is no plan to decommission it?
No, I don't want it decommissioned. It's very good for me. I'll keep it there. It's going to take other platforms a very tough job to take over the role of this airplane.
He also spoke on the F-7 supersonic jet and the JF-17 fighter jet recently acquired from Pakistan.
The newly acquired JF-17, those have multi-role capabilities as well, but their primary role is for air-to-air. Air-to-air, that is to say, fighting against incoming enemy threats through the air. But they can still be used for air-to-ground purposes. But their primary role is for air-to-air. So,
I guess right now we do not have a cause to engage enemy airplanes.
As it is now, the conflicts we're involved in, none involves air combat with enemy airplanes. So
that day could come. So.
That day could come, yes, and that's why we have them. We always have to plan for the future. So getting those airplanes is to make sure that when the future war comes, we are prepared to deal with those challenges.
To Air Vice Marshal Ananaba, the Super Tucanos offer new capabilities and possibilities.
With the Alpha jets, we don't have precision capability. With this airplane, you have precision capability. When I say precision, you can pick out a vehicle and strike that vehicle exactly without disturbing anything else around it. With these aircrafts, it can search on its own, while the Alpha Jet will rely on another airplane to search. This airplane, you can zoom in on the camera there, that's the camera under it there. It has the capability to search for targets on its own and engage those targets. So that is one lapse we had with the Alpha Jets that this has covered up for. If you look at the rocket pod, you will just see about 7 slots in there. 7 slots. On the Alpha Jets, you have 32 slots. Wow. Here you have 7 slots. So what does that tell you? This airplane is meant to fire 1 rocket, 1 gun truck. So it doesn't need to carry too many. It's sure of hitting its target. So that's a good thing we have about it. Keep it up there. It looks for its own target, finds its own target, it kills its own target, and it's a beautiful machine.
He's happy about the synergy between the armed forces and went on to address the concerns of some people that the Air Force is sometimes slow to respond to attacks by the enemy.
There are so many factors that affect response time. Some tend to look at response time as simply how quickly are you able to jump into your airplane, take off and get there. But there are other factors that come in. Let me use the scenario of a soldier in the unit who comes under attack. Firstly, he has to respond to that attack. After responding to that attack, he has to understand the scenario or understand the situation before he now starts to communicate his situation. All these takes a bit of time. All this takes a bit of time. Before that soldier responds to the attack, appreciates the situation, picks up his radio and starts to communicate, a bit of time has gone. Then now the information gets to the air component and the air component starts to scramble. The pilot jumps up. He has to go pick his gear. The technicians have to run to the airplane. If it is out in the open, which we are usually out in the open when we're on alert, he has to prepare the airplane. Before the pilot comes in, gets in, straps in, then goes through the checklists of starting up the airplane. He starts, then he has to taxi out and then take off. And depending on where the attack is, it may be one that is just 10 minutes away. It may be one that is 1 hour away from flight. All these are factored into the response time. And it cannot be the same. Sometimes weather is an issue.
If the Air Force maintains absolute commitment, discipline, dedication to duty, and continues to synergize its efforts with other security agencies, the victory over the enemy is assured. Babajide Kolade Otstoju, Maiduguri, Borno State.
The beauty of journalist hangout on Sunday, you can't get this anywhere. I tell you that. So if you're not able to watch it, watch the repeat or just go on YouTube to get this particular exclusive. And the man that took GD around, that's the air component commander of Operation Adinkai, that Nnamdi Nwokobia Ananaba. He said he's just been reposted.
Yes, he's now the head of operations of the Nigerian Air Force. Wonderful man, brilliant, and Alpha Jet pilot himself. He's proven himself, and I'm not surprised that it has pleased the Chief of Air Staff to move in on, because he was promoted a few hours after I got to Maiduguri to AVM. Used to be Air Commodore.
Now Air Vice Marshal.
Yes, so I knew that he will very soon be leaving the Operation Hadinke. But he's left on a very good note. They've made so much progress in the last 1 year. And even the service chiefs will be 1 year this week. I think on the 26th or so, it will be 1 year. You know, there is an opportunity to look at what they have done.
And to understand it now, I know the distinction between an Alpha jet and what a Super Tucano can do.
Yes, they have different capabilities. Yes.
Yes, I think the Super Tucano has more.
In terms of precision, accuracy.
Yes.
Right now, there is no jet that we have that is like the Super Tucano. It doesn't have many ports for missiles. Because you can see this one, so many ports for rockets. You know, but because it has few, you can be sure that its weapons delivery capacity is top notch. You know, so if it targets a gun truck, there's no way the gun truck can escape.
I think this is telling us that look, the game changer will be just to invest on, you know, air power, since these terrorist-minded guys, they don't have access to that air power, with something that we can invest and maximize it to wipe them off. Be you bandits, be you Boko Haram.
Yes, in this kind of war, we call it asymmetry warfare. Your best assets are in the air, because it's very difficult to see face to face with the enemies. So you have to be in the air to be able to see, you know, and it's a good thing that Nigeria is thinking the right direction now.
It took us 4 years to get
yes,
the Super Tucano.
It's always like that. Some countries spend longer than that.
So if you want to get new round of it, let's say you want to get Apache or want to get
Apache could even take Apache. I remember the Indians. It took about 7 years. You know, and America will not sell Apache to just anybody.
Just anybody.
You have to be.
Or they will sell Black Hawk.
Yeah, you have to be there. They are very good book.
Really?
You have to be there.
What's the big deal?
There is politics about weapons procurement. Their best friends, a strategic ally, because they also fear that.
I'm talking about the usefulness of the Apache.
No, Apache, in my view, is the best ground attack helicopter. You can be here and engage an enemy in Ibadan with an Apache. You don't have to get close. The accuracy is there.
120 kilometers.
More than 140 to get to that target, blow it up.
Wow.
So
they won't hear anything. They won't see you coming.
Everyone wants an Apache. Everyone wants an Apache, because
and that will make it difficult for people to get it.
Yes. So they would rather sell to their best friends, their allies, and all that.
You know the American
countries like
president,
Taiwan, you know, those are their people, and they can sell to those ones.
You know, the American president at that time really helped.
Yes,
no, Trump. You know, if not for Trump,
when Obama,
they would not have sold this to us.
When Obama was there, things like this were very difficult.
I remember the first meeting Trump had with President Buhari.
He told him,
all over Buhari. President Buhari was all over him.
No, he said, "I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to fight terror." He told the president, he said, "Whatever you need, I'll give it to you."
It's not easy to just get ammunition from America. It's very, very difficult.
You know, in our own case, they cited the Leahy Law. And it was that Leahy Law that Obama used. But immediately Trump used some senators from his party to lobby others to brush aside the Leahy Law so that they can sell weapons to us. People who spend their time abusing Trump and all that, they fail to remember that Trump did something good for Nigeria.
Yes, that's why
something that our own black brother refused to do. Even when we wanted to buy the Chinook helicopters from Israel, Obama administration blocked it, because America reserves the right, if America sells weapons to you, it reserves the right to allow you to sell to a third party. So they blocked it at that time. We were desperate. That was what now made us to go to Belarus, to go to Ukraine, to go and be buying second-hand armor tanks and all that. You know, so I still thank God for him that at least he agreed to sell Tucanos to us. If it was Obama, he would not have sold it.
So if
we made moves that time, they refused. And this will be kind to him on that we have an excellent Tucano that has been effective in Mali, in Afghanistan, and many other places where they've used it. At least we have it. We are sure of precision. We are sure of accuracy. And all the pilots, even helicopter pilots, they are happy. They are saying, we have this now. Look at one of those helicopter pilots saying, for now, this is the best that we have.
So if you've been looking for those people that have been talking about Super Tucano, that is a lie, is this, is that.
Some even said it's fake, is this, that is second hand.
So just go on YouTube, go and watch what we've shown you. And
you know why I decided to even look into the cockpit by myself? Because of the nonsense that they were saying that, oh, these things are not really new. I climbed.
Nigeria will cheap data, right?
Yes, they have nothing to do with their lives except to abuse people and write rubbish. I climbed, I looked into it, I saw everything was pristine clean. Extremely clean.
Brand new.
Yeah. I look at this, I said, man, that God, I'm just happy.
Inside the interior.
Yes, when I looked, I said, this is extremely new. Extremely new.
So we have no reason to be afraid of Boko Haram or whatever.
No, those boys know now. Let me tell you, those boys in the past, they could move around the way they liked. But they know now, if they move around in the night, we have airplanes with night fighting capability, they will be tracked down. They know that in daytime, before they move for a few kilometers, they will have been sighted. And they are keeping
those days that they will be driving with
all of it.
Motorcycles.
Let them try it now.
Of road.
Why are they using rockets? Firing rockets into they are firing they are firing rockets into civilian areas. Those are rockets with mobile launchers. Once they fire it, they run away. They will just run away from that area. So you can't find them there.
Okay.
That's what they did on the day the president visited Maiduguri. They fired rockets, but they ran away. So because that capability, they've been denied their right to move around the way they like and be killing people, misbehaving. No, with the weapons we have now, they dare not, except they go to remote areas. Somebody was asking me, said, Jide, you went to do PR for the army, but the army lost their institution, they took over. I said, you are saying rubbish. I've always said that there will be setbacks. The fact that army is doing well today does not mean there will never be setbacks. There will be occasions when the enemy...
Is this same Jide that we accuse?
Yeah, they say I'm enemy of the army.
Yes,
now the same people are saying, oh, you went to do PR, and after your PR, they went to the institution. It will happen.
Nobody said army has won the war.
No, Sebi asked me the question.
Nobody has said army has won the war.
No.
In one breath, Jide is anti-Nigeria. He doesn't like Nigeria.
In one breath, I'm anti-APC. In one breath, I'm anti-PDP. Neither of the parties, the extremist supporters of both parties, they do not want to see me. They hate me. So it means that I'm doing my job the right way. It's a privilege to be hated by both supporters of APC and
we don't have to mention their names, but they know this government. So our friends that we used to have, when they see us now,
no, they don't see us as
they don't want to see us
anymore.
again.
But if the government does what is right, we will come out. People were saying Buhari didn't buy weapons. I risked my life. I went there to show that indeed he bought weapons. In fact, there are so many weapons that we couldn't even show. So the man has bought weapons. You can't say he didn't buy.
Okay, just before we go, my producer is pointing my attention at Major General Shuaibu is not the first DG of the NYSC that was promoted to be a Major General. He's telling me now that his predecessor, that Major General Kazari, was also a Major General, made a Major General. And
during his time.
Yes, that is not the Shuaibu is not
because
the first
even Colonel, we see a lot of them as Colonel.
Colonel, yeah.
Colonel
before Brigadier General. Just before we go, we have to say happy birthday to Oluwadami Lola Emmanuel, the Managing Director of Lagos State Waterways Authority. Lasiu, wishing you many more glorious years. Adekunle Yusuf, thank you for your intervention today. And it's nice to have you on Journalist Hangouts Sunday. Sunday is always.
Thank you for that correction because we learn all the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was someone that told us that.
Okay.
It was the first.
Now we have to.
So clearly, that person misled us.
Yes, okay.
And we are happy that we are being corrected.
So yeah, in the last 3 Sundays, we've been giving you special reports on the military, and Jide dedicated his Utah season to make sure he gets this for us. I said, Jide.
Now we still have one more.
We still have one more.
We still have one more on the armor tanks.
Let's bring it on the armor tank. Bring it on. So it's Journalist Hangouts Sunday, and that's our offering today.